Let's start in Vietnam. You're
Let's do
hustling
it.
your way through the first part of this continue racing leg, and then you get on the mat, and Phil says you're dead last.
Yeah, not
Talk,
just last.
right?
We're dead.
Not just last, Sarah. Come on. But yes,
I mean, my goodness.
well, when we first got,
It was tragic.
it was super tragic. I mean, because Jeremy and I, we thought we were doing so well the entire leg, right? I mean, we through the floating market, we just coasted. We went straight up, boom,
One
we
after
stopped
another,
right there,
we hit those
bang.
things.
All the way down, right? And then through our detour, I mean, we had like 2 checks and we were good to go. I mean, we were doing really well. And then when we got to the mat, we saw Victor and Jocelyn ahead of us, actually. So we had to, wait for them to do their thing. But we saw Victor and Jocelyn, they had been consistently finishing in the front of the pack for the past couple legs. And so we were like, oh my God, Jeremy, we're about to get second or third place. Let's go. And so
we knew it.
We do it. We did it.
Thought would happen.
Let's go. And then we get to the pit stop and Phil throws pies in our faces, right? So not good. But then he's like, it's a continuation leg. I was like, is super excited to not have been eliminated to go to a comfy hotel room, but to keep running around in the hot, sweaty lands of Vietnam, right? I would love that, right? It was a fantastic time. But we, going through that entire thing, I mean, we thought we were doing well, but gotcha.
Yeah, right. So how, in that moment, then how do you flip to, oh my gosh, we have to keep going?
I think after that continuation leg happened, it definitely flipped a switch in our team that we were like, okay, we have to like really not just focus, but we have to work as hard as we can. We really just have to leave it all out here right now. This is the only way that we're going to be able to survive. And that's kind of what we did. That's what you guys kind of saw during the mattress challenge, right? Everybody else was typically doing one mattress. One of the teams or two of the teams, they tried 2 mattresses, but they're like, there's no way, that's like impossible. We can't be doing that. And that's where me and Liam come in. And I was like, this is where we have to use our grit and our iron to get down to business. This is the only way we're going to do it. And it's going to hurt, and it's going to hurt bad, but we're going to need to do it. We just need to, just nut up or shut up. And it's right now. And that's exactly what we did. We grabbed 2 mattresses, we put them on our shoulders, and we just dripped sweat down that entire road in Vietnam as we got to that hotel. And ultimately it paid off for us.
Yeah, it was a window of opportunity whenever we saw that other teams were not doing 2 mattresses. I mean, and what Jeremy and I, had was a lot of our advantage was going to be in physical challenges. So as soon as we got to a physical challenge, we were like, dude, let's go. And we saw the other teams only doing 1 mattress or 2 mattresses starting and then switching back to 1 mattress. So that's our window of opportunity. We have to do 2 mattresses both times, and we have to do it quicker. So that's kind of, our thought process going through that entire thing.
And then you get 6th place. This is your highest finish at this point. Like, you saw the results. How did it feel then?
I cannot express to you how just you don't get it, Sarah. All right. Just you don't get it. All right. Because the mattress thing, I mean, it was like I was like a little boy, kind of like tugging on Jeremy's arm, being like, "Hey, give me attention, like let me breathe, right?" And he was like, "No, let's go," and like it pulled me around. And so I was about to die type of stuff, right? Like I probably had like 198 BPM the entire time, right? Slamming full water bottles like they're shots, right? And then we get to the roadblock, and after all of that, I have to do this roadblock, right? So I'm doing this roadblock that could either take 2 seconds or it could take 3 or 4 hours. And I have to do it after 2 legs and a big mattress challenge like that. So whenever I went through that challenge, I did it really quickly, which was super cool. I didn't think I was going to do it that fast, but I did it really fast. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's go. So I was able to perform in that roadblock right after having to already, perform in that mattress thing. And I did it and I gave it my absolute all. And it actually all paid off. Jeremy and I made it. We jumped so many places, and it felt really good to kind of reap rewards of our work ethic. I mean, because we worked so hard to get there. It was breaking. It was absolutely breaking how hard we had to work to get to that point.
And I definitely want to talk about that moment as well, because I think that was a really big moment, not just in the race for us, but personally for me and Liam's relationship for our entire life. I mean,
Yeah.
when we had got to that roadblock after we had just gone through so much of that, I mean, Liam was right. I was just pulling him, right? Like
Mm.
the Marine in me just started coming out, and I was like, I don't give a shit about if you're tired or if you're sore, if you're hurting, if you're sweaty. Like I know this shit hurts, but it's the only way we're gonna make it. So we gotta make it. So follow me and we're gonna charge it. And that's what we did. And we did it all the way up until that roadblock. And then Liam, after having gone through that whole sleigh fest of mattresses and running down the street and finding the temple and then being able to go to the roadblock, I mean, we were both wasted, but the only difference is that I get a break now, and Liam has to continue, but not just being tired. He has to continue with the entire stress of this being a challenge, which the end goal weighs specifically on his shoulders. And I knew that weight was so heavy. And Liam found that tile so fast. I mean, it was literally like 20 minutes maybe of him looking, and then he found it. And when we went to that pit stop, I mean, I felt such an overwhelming sense of proudness. I remember grabbing Liam's head. I'll never forget. I remember grabbing his head and just pressing our foreheads together as we were crying. And I was just like, dude, I'm so fucking proud of you. I'm so proud of you, bro. Like, I can't believe you just did that. You are amazing. You're amazing. And this whole thing happened because of you, bro. So I loved it so much.
No, sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How was that tile task for you?
It was hard. It was because there was like hundreds of these tiles in this area. This is a big temple ground, right? There's like hundreds of these tiles, and the tiles were double-sided. And you had these pictures. So I had two checks. I saw my tile. I walked down, checked 4 tiles, and I was like, okay, this one looks like it. Let me get a check really quick. Got a check. He said no. And I was like, okay, cool. Now that means that this is the exact same tile, except that there's a small, minute detail that's off. And so then I looked at my tile. I found it. I was like, cool. Now I know what I'm looking for. And then I just started speed running every single tile. And I was doing it on the perimeter of the entire temple ground. And then I remember Yeremi and I had this moment when we were in the hotel room between one of the previous legs, and we were discussing the previous Amazing Race challenges so that we could apply a strategy that we made, based off of, our thought process into, whatever challenge comes ahead. And Yeremi was saying that whenever there's like a find it challenge, most teams start on the outside and they look in the outside, or they're the direct center. And he's like, but nobody really checks the middle of the ring, like the middle ring, the middle grounds, right? And I was like, okay. So I checked for maybe 10, 15 minutes around. And then I was like, you know what? I'm really on the outside of this temple, right? And there's only one tile in hundreds of them. So I got to find it. And I was like, you know what? Yeremi said, maybe I check the middle. So let's go check the middle. So Liam went to go check the middle and checked 3 tiles and found it. And whenever I called the check down, I looked up at Yeremi and the dude's checking. I showed it to him and I looked at Yeremi and I was just sitting there smiling. I was like, yeah, let's go. And he's like, did you get it? I was like,
he was like, yeah,
it was like, I don't know. And he gave me a thumbs. I was like, let's go, dude, let's go. And so then we ran it. It was a difficult mental roadblock, but I am so happy I was able to do it so quickly. And I did it like with a lot of Yeremi's help, even though he wasn't able to help me at that time. So, it was a great challenge. Honestly, I really enjoyed it.
Well, we have to talk about this final leg for you guys. Was it really the rickshaw driver? Was like that the bulk of the issue here?
Sarah, it was 100% the bulk of the issue here. That there's nothing. Oh my God, bruh. We got in this rickshaw right from the get-go, right? When there was this whole rickshaw group, we found our rickshaw and then we get on the road and this thing is going so slow. Oh my God. Like me and Liam, we talked about it when we were in it as it was driving, and we were like, we could probably get out and run and it would be faster than taking this rickshaw.
Yeah.
But not only was the actual vehicle slow, but the person driving it, our girl, we were doing everything we can. When you're in situations like that, you're trying to show them, you're like, hey, can you take us there? And you know, most of the time they're like, yeah, I can take you there. And they're like, okay, sweet, you know where you're going. And then they don't take you there. So then you start to go through these further levels of trying to work this issue down to see if they can understand it, right? So you're asking locals, you're trying to get somebody to translate, you know, where this might be, directions and stuff like that. And we did so much of it. I mean, we did so much of it trying to get her to take us where we needed to go, and we were just never arriving there. And that was just the bulk of the issue. I mean, when we were doing that detour with the flowers, we tied them, we got them up. It was just trying to get us to the location in which we needed to be so we could turn them in. That was the biggest issue. And
yeah, when I saw you guys choose that detour, I was like, oh, no, that's the one you need your rickshaw driver for. Whereas the brick, you would have done it yourself on the bike. Were you aware of that when you're choosing the detour? Is that
I'm gonna be honest, I don't recall talking about that.
No, we didn't even think about that, Sarah. That's a great thing that you brought up, because I was like, wow, one does have a rickshaw driver and one doesn't. So yeah.
Are you guys just realizing this now?
Yeah, no, I didn't, we didn't think about that. Are you serious? I mean, I would say the majority of her just driving us around was after we picked the detour anyways. When we got to the detour, I mean, yeah, you know what she did? She drove us out of town, Yeremi. She drove us to that market or the food court.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it probably would have been smarter to probably do that other one, but I mean, at least we got a nice tour of all of India.
Yeah, we got a huge tour of that market and that road. I mean, we saw every little corner of it. We went to every temple that they had in that strip, and there was like 50 of them, and we went to every single one.
Yeah, every single one. They have a lot. There's a lot there.
Watching you guys race this season, we had so many beautiful moments getting to know you guys and understanding your relationship. So overall, how was it to have this experience together?
Well, a lot of what you see on this season of us, I mean, it's really how we are. I mean, we're really just big, goofy dudes who really love each other and have been really actually working on their relationship. And going through the entire race, I mean, we were pushing our relationship, which is a new relationship that we have been working towards through the whole casting process. Maybe, like I've said, 2 weeks before we started casting for The Amazing Race, we started talking again. So it's a really fresh relationship, and going through the entire casting process, we had to work on being vulnerable with one another and understanding each other's feelings and intentions and perceptions and all of these things so that we can better, be better for one another, right? I mean, the miscommunications is what has been, holding us back. So if we could eliminate that and be able to be better brothers for one another, then why not do that? Going through the entire actual physical part of the race was just kind of putting that to the test. We had established that we were going to work on our relationship and we have a plan, but going through it, we actually had to put the plan to action. And it worked out really well. Yeremi and I were very supportive of one another. We usually always are, like 100% of the time. We're very goofy and we love watching each other succeed. We're each other's biggest fans, and we were just positive and supporting one another, just happy to see each other doing the cool, fun things that we were doing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, just like you said, we started off rocky and we started off separated, and the biggest roadblock for us to going through and actually succeeding during the casting process, I'm glad you like that, I'll for you, is just the biggest challenge was going to be lowering our walls to the point where we can truly let each other in, right? And as men, and as especially military men, with the family background that we have, that was something that was one of the most difficult things for us throughout our entire life, is getting to the point where we can be vulnerable with other people about our emotions. I mean, just self-recognizing our own emotions was our own battle in ourselves to get to. But once we knew and we found that we needed to do that, and we were able to lower those barricades down and actually get to know each other and hear each other, and then let each other love each other, is when we got to the point where we were testing that new relationship out on the race, and we were doing everything that we wanted to do. We were communicating the way we've always wanted to communicate, and we were loving each other the way that we've always wanted to. And we were being able to have that different level of support and encouragement, just being there for each other in some of those really hard times. I mean, there are more times than not in me and Liam's life that we were going through something that was incredibly hard for us, and we didn't have anybody to be there for us. So being able to go through these moments and us specifically be there for each other and be able to hug each other and get that immediate recognition that like you killed that. You know what I mean? Like you are awesome. And the only reason that we're continuing to go the way we're going is because of your performance and how great you are as a person, was something that will be a staple for our relationship for the rest of our lives, really.
Oh, you guys were lovely to watch. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you,
Thanks, Sarah.
Sarah. I
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.